Hello there. My name is Jasom Jensai, which you probably know. But in this stream, we're going to be covering Bad Batch episode 8. We've been doing all the episodes, just the episodes for Bad Batch up until now. So now is episode 8. But before we get into all that, I say all that, it's one thing. We have the question of the stream, which is, what is your favorite member of the Bad Batch? So if you get that question right, you get 10 points. You only get one guess. You can't look it up. Please don't look that up, by the way. That's a terrible thing to look up. And the third thing is, I always forget it. Oh, only the first person to get it correct, correct, gets the points. So yeah, you have to get that one correct. I'm sure it'll be very difficult. Anyways, let's move on to Bad Batch episode 8. So if you watched my last episode, my last stream, I talked about Bad Batch episode 7, which was pretty similar to this, except it had Rex instead of Crosshair, basically. And I was kind of underwhelmed by that episode. I'm not really sure why. It could be a whole bunch of things, like the pacing was a bit off, I think. I had a lot of cool theories floating around in my head. Like, I hadn't, really thought through most of them, but they were just, cool theories I had in my mind. So I was a bit underwhelmed by all, the episodes, by episode 7. And to be fair, the ones before that were a bit fillery as well. They did accomplish stuff, but it feels like they could have been condensed and it would have been more interesting. So yeah, that's my thoughts on episode 7. So going into that, I was kind of like, well, I hope they can make it good. And it turns out I really liked this one. And I think a big part of that is Crosshair's back in this one. So the first thing, I don't remember how I think it actually starts with Camino. And my first thought when I saw Camino is back. And because I remember back in episode, I think it was episode 2. It's the one where they do basically nothing. And they're on this dark moon, and that's the first time Wrecker hits his head because they crash landed. They gotta find the part, and they fight this weird moon monster thing. Anyways, that episode also had scenes with Crosshair, and those were awesome. So from then on, I've wanted to see more and more of Crosshair, but we haven't seen any of him up until now, when we see I'll get to all that, because I really liked it. Also, one more thing I noticed is we saw V-Wing, which, it makes sense for the time period. So, yeah, I don't know, just a cool touch. It's something a true Star Wars fan would put in. It's because it's right for the time period. You wouldn't have Arc 170s, you wouldn't have TIE Fighters. No, V-Wing. There we go. Boom. I like little touches like that. They make the universe feel more realistic and tangible, which is always good in a story. You want them to feel realistic so the stakes are higher, or feel higher. The stakes are technically just as high. Anyways, moving on. So yeah, it's also confirmed, mostly, they didn't say outright, but it's pretty much confirmed that Fennec Shand was hired by the Kaminoans, which, of course, is, one of the only ones that made sense. Why would the Empire hire Fennec Shand when they could just hire Crosshair, who already works for them, right? I don't know. It just doesn't make as much sense for the Empire to be hiring bounty hunters at this time. And then also, if you got a third party involved, it's a bit more complicated. Also, who in the world would it be? Who knows about Omega other than the Kaminoans? The Kaminoans are also talking about, oh, we need Omega for, phase 3 or something. So, it just makes a lot of sense. But it is confirmed now. Yeah, so that happened. Then you have the whole scene with Crosshair chasing them, and that was very well done. Honestly, there's not too much to say about it. Ooh, there is one thing I would like to point out is, and this has been pointed out in every review I've seen. It's not super, it's not a super unique point or anything, but it's that Crosshair knows their tactics, and he catches them. Basically, at one point they hack into the comms, or Tech hacks into the comms of the stormtroopers. I don't think they're stormtroopers yet, but you know who I'm talking about, the bad guys. He hacks into their comms, and then later when they find Crosshair and not stormtroopers surround them, and Crosshair makes a comment about how they're so predictable to tap into those comms. So I'm guessing he did some sort of counter hack or whatever. I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if it's a thing in Star Wars, but something like that just happened, I think. So that was cool. And yeah, and then there's also other things. The one thing I didn't like, well, okay, two things, is that, well, one, the stakes just don't really feel high to me with the show. I don't know what it is. Like most times when like a character's in trouble, like there's some tension there. But in the show, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not invested in the characters that much. I don't know what it is. But regardless, there wasn't that much tension for me, which is always a big thing. Then there's also, they had like 3 different encounters with Crosshair, and they kept escaping, and it just felt a little bit long. Maybe they should have. I don't know. I don't know what I would have done, because it's already like a 26-minute episode. If they make it like a 15-minute episode, no one's gonna be happy. But at the same time, it just felt like they were just. I don't know. Maybe they just needed the last one to be even more spectacular, or something that they're building to. Like maybe they encounter a wave of stormtroopers, and then they encounter another wave of stormtroopers, and then they encounter Crosshair, and then that adds more tension for the last one. Okay, so I figured it out. So here's the problem: it was really tense at the beginning. Not okay for me. I didn't feel that much tension, but there was some tension the first time they're caught, after they hack into his comms and Crosshair surrounds them, and then they escape, and the same thing happens again. And I think it happens 3 times. Maybe it only happens twice. I don't know. I don't remember. Because the first time, and then they, hack into the cannons? Yeah, Echo hacks into the cannons and, like, shoots the deck, and it all collapses. Then they escape out the... I know the last one, they escape out the engine. I watched it Friday morning, and it's now Saturday night, so it's been too long for me to remember the middle one, if there is a middle one. Anyways, whether there's 2 or 3, it doesn't matter. All the ones that came after weren't as tense because it was the same situation, except like different location, which did change their strategies up a bit. Crosshair decided to turn on the engine. Meanwhile, Hunter and the rest of them countered by blowing up the engine, and here's the problem I have with that little solution they had there. Not the solution. Crosshair's solution to turning on the engine is he gets burned, but like he just why did he stand there? He should have been prepared to get hit by that engine if he's turning it on, because it's not like the Bad Batch are the ones who are turning it on. It's him who's turning it on, so he should be ready for it. So he shouldn't be burned by it. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but that just feels like there's no way he should have been burned by that. And maybe it's that when they blew it up, it somehow released more, but you would think it'd be less focused and so therefore reach less far back. Maybe the Stormtrooper turned it on farther than he expected. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things you could do. One cool thing that this episode did, though, and I do like this about their final encounter, is that it really showed how dangerous Crosshair is. Because, like, they were about to go out the engine, and then, like, Crosshair shot once, almost killed them. And then it's like, well, shoot, what do we do now? If we go out, he shoots us. And, like, that's it. Crosshair pins down the entire team. And I don't think that's a problem, because, see, here's the problem that could arise is if Crosshair was overpowered, but really it's just his specialty. If it was like a shorter hallway, Crosshair would have no chance against Wrecker, but all of them would have no chance against Wrecker. If it was like, and those 2 are really the warriors of the team. The other ones are also warriors, Echo, but they have like primary functions. Wrecker is close quarters because he's strong. Crosshair is a sniper, obviously, because he's a good sniper, so he's far range. Then you've got Hunter, who's a tracker, and he's also a leader. Then you have Tech, who's the tech guy, and Echo, who's the backup tech guy because he's also weird. He's a late addition. He doesn't count. And then, of course, there's Omega, but she's also a late addition. Doesn't count. So that's why it didn't bother me, and that's why I actually liked it. And then there's one more thing I really liked, which was Cad Bane shows up. And I was surprised to see Cad Bane, but it was a welcome surprise to be sure. Um, kind of got the line in there. I should have just started with that. Anyways, yeah, it was good. For a second, I thought they were gonna have Hunter outshoot Cad Bane, and I got really worried for a second, because I mean, you see Hunter get beat up by Fennec Shand like a few episodes earlier. He's really not the best. Like I said, Hunter or not Hunter, Crosshair and Wrecker are the warriors. Hunter is the tracker and the leader. So he gets outshot by Cad Bane, which I liked, because it's so easy to make the main character like Hunter just beat Cad Bane just because plot armor, but no, they kept it logical, and Cad Bane won. And it also introduces new story among or cooler story elements, potentially cooler. It's debatable, but with Omega gone halfway through the season, and the Bad Batch having no idea who hired Cad Bane, no idea how, even if they did figure out, infiltrating Camino would be difficult. And they have the Empire chasing them to begin with, so they've got a lot of things to figure out if they're going to rescue Omega, which I'm sure they're going to try and do. And so this kind of just sets up like the next half of the season, and I think that'll be really good for this, because these previous episodes have been a little bit directionless because the Bad Batch have been playing defensively, like they've just been doing jobs for Sid because they don't want to be found by the Empire, but they still need to eat, so they need money for food and stuff. But now they're going to be probably, they have a goal, get Omega back. I mean, I'm assuming that's their goal. They don't really show them coming to that conclusion, but yeah, it's cool. The other potential goal they could have is remove Crosshair's chip. Now that their chips are removed and they know that they can be removed, that's a potential goal for them as well. Or maybe that'll just be a happy accident, or maybe that's for season 2. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. And that's why it's kind of hard to judge these as they come out. Maybe I'll probably do a whole season review, talking about everything that is better in hindsight after, like the week after the last episode airs. So that'll be cool. But I don't know. I feel like that's all I have to say for this episode. I liked it. It was really good. Probably my favorite one so far. Even though it was a lot shorter than the first one. I think the first one is maybe even too long. At the same time, I'm glad we got like too long, as in it could have been 2 episodes. And I'd have to rewatch it again and look what's happening around like the 20 to 30 minute mark. But it probably could have been 2 episodes. But I'm not complaining that they released basically 2 episodes at once. Especially with a show like this. Like with Mandalorian, I would want to see like 1 episode a week. It helps space it out a bit more. And also it keeps me from just binge watching and just wasting a whole day doing nothing. Well, not nothing, because it's Star Wars. Star Wars is awesome, but you get what I mean. Like not school, not work, not actually making the videos, just absorbing content for the videos. But I suppose it's the same amount of time in the long run. It's just more spread out. I don't know. There's a lot you can debate with whether you should release whole seasons at once, or like 1 episode a week, or maybe 1 episode a day. Maybe that would be the best. For Bad Batch, though, I think it would be better. Well, yeah, I could go either way. Yeah, I don't know. How often do you think episodes should be released? Like in your ideal world, speaking as a consumer, not taking into account how hard it is to make them or whatever, or anything like that. How often would you want to? Oh, and also don't count like Disney wanting people to subscribe to Disney Plus for long periods of time rather than just binge watching and then like canceling the subscription. Then the next show comes out and they binge watch and then cancel. So don't take into account all those things. How many episodes would you want? Personally, I think for Bad Batch, I would do 1 a day, and then I'd probably just watch them, and then once a week do like a last 7 episodes review. Like something like that. That'd be cool. Maybe 1 every 2 days, because 1 a day would be a lot. I don't know. Well, anyways, I think that's all I have to say. So, unless you've got any comments you really want to make, and for me to answer, I'll give you a second because there is a bit of delay to leave those in the chat. The 2 of you who are watching. So I need to give you some time. What should I talk about? Uh, One more thing. There was a theory that their inhibitor chips were like inhibiting their performance as warriors, not just their like loyalty or whatever. Not just controlling them, but making them like worse shots or whatever. And that I don't think that's true after seeing this episode. I mean, they worked a little bit better maybe, but I feel like they worked just about as normal and just knew Crosshair better. Although Crosshair did know them better, which led to them getting nearly captured a few times. But anyways, I'm guessing you guys don't have anything more to say, so I'm going to do the outro real quick. So make sure to leave any any comments and all that type of stuff. Any critiques, compliments, or questions you have about the video about Star Wars, make sure to leave a like, all that stuff. You guys know what I'm talking about. You've seen YouTube videos before. Do all this stuff. And with that, may the Force be with you. Always.